to my garden. Welcome back to my channel. This morning I'm working in the lower garden beds and I'm starting the process of putting in a new bed. I'm going to be using again the no-till bed method, which as you may have heard or you may have seen even in one of my previous videos, it's the process of putting down cardboard onto existing lawn or weeds or just unworked ground, putting down a layer of cardboard, putting down a thick layer of compost, or in my case, in the other bed that I did, a really good planting soil combination mix that will have the compost in it, have other really good things mixed into it, and then topping it off with some bark dust or some mulch of some sort, and then letting kind of nature run its course. Basically, the goodness on top kind of encourages goodness from the bottom to come up and work into the, work the soil through, and it just creates a really amazing base for a garden bed. Soil is so important, and in many of my beds I did not do this method, and they are still, after many, many years, rough to work in. I've showed you my other no-till beds. I have one right here behind me. The two beds that you see behind me are both no-till beds. I have one up on my top lawn that's a no-till, and then another one that I put in across our driveway, and they are all definitely my most happy beds. So I'm going to turn you around and show you the area that I'm looking at, show you the area that we're going to be working in today, and kind of talk you through the process that I'm going to use to create this new garden bed. Okay, so here is where we are working. I call this the lower garden because it's below this kind of slanted terraced area. That's our lawn, that's up to our house. So this is the lowest point in our basically cultivated property. Right above that is a railroad grade, an old railroad grade. Obviously there's no railroad there now, but it used to be. So that's quite a berm there. And this area right here is where we're going to be working. So you can see this area right in front of me that is still quite green. That's because this is a drain line. So this garden has to kind of be shifted down beneath that. That's going to be left as basically a grass pathway between this space that I'm going to be working in down here, and then possibly a bed that I'll be putting in there in the future. But for right now, this is where we're going to be working. And if you can see, on this side of the path, I have a grass strip between where the bed is and where the path is, and I'll be doing the same thing here. And actually, I don't know if it's obvious on the camera, but you can kind of see a path of the more dead grass that's already there, and I'm going to be sort of following that when it comes to the design of the bed. Now this is a Crimson Century Norway maple, and that's going to be the very bottom corner point of the bed. I'm going to be basically moving this nectarine tree. It's going to go further down in the bed. I have a peach tree behind that I think is going to stay there in that spot, though I will need to dig it up and raise it up a little bit because this bed will have probably, I'm hoping, at least 6 inches of compost put on top of the cardboard. That's my ideal, but I think that will probably go right back where it is. Then this is, I believe it's, I don't know if you can even see it. This is a Black Beauty elderberry. I may plant it back in. It's definitely not doing well right there. Just by the nature of how this area is down here, these plants have gotten a little bit neglected. The Norway maple, though, it's a very slow growing variety. It's still doing pretty well, but there is a vine maple back there that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that one. And this guy here, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with that, but either way, they will probably need to be dug out as I create this bed. But ideally, this high point here that is the drain line, ideally the garden bed is going to be below that. So I'm hoping that with that, I won't be dealing with too much change in elevation, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know. We'll have to see. This is a process. It's not just simple. Nothing seems to be simple for me in this space. So we'll have to see. But first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mow down the area. I'm going to mow down the area that I am thinking that the bed is going to be. I'm going to mow it as low as it can possibly go, because we are late in the season. A lot of the grass is already dead, so that should take it down pretty far. But doing this helps me see where the bed is going to be, but it also helps in the process of laying down the cardboard, just because it makes it, nice and flat. So I will be wearing safety glasses because I'll be mowing down as low as our mower can go. I have a fire extinguisher nearby because we are late in the season. Everything is very dry, so I'm cautious of that as well. And yeah, I'm just going to set up the camera and capture this part, and we'll move on to the next part when that comes. Okay, well, scratch that idea. This ground is never been actually a lawn. It's been, I don't know, totally unkept, I don't even know what to say. It's never been leveled. It's always been just kind of overgrown. It's only been in the last like 2 years that we've actually been mowing it. And so consequently, the ground is super uneven. If I really wanted to, I suppose I could ask my husband to come in and try to level it, but then that would kind of defeat the purpose of it being a no-till bed, because the idea is that you don't want to aggravate the basically the composition of what the soil already is. So can't very well mow it much shorter than it already is, just because when you lower the mower down, it can't even go over the unevenness. So this could be more difficult than I thought. So we'll see. We'll see where we go from here. Okay, well, a little update on what we've done. I was going to give up after the lawnmower, but then I thought, I should just at least try the weed whacker and see where that can get me. So that has cut down the grass quite a bit, but it is making it is still hard for me to see the shape of the bed that I'm kind of envisioning. So, I mean, I could just do that with the cardboard, but this just helps me kind of see where it's at. I know that I want curves in the bed, but I also want to take into consideration where the drain line is, and also where the main elevation changes, because there's quite a drop off here in this area, probably by about a foot. So I'm kind of working with that, trying to play with what's naturally there, I guess. So I think I'm just going to start, I might weed whack a little bit more. I just had to change my battery again. And then I think I'm going to go in with the tool. I'm only going to work for a little bit longer today just because it's supposed to get up into the 90s. We're having a upswing in temperature. So I'm just going to work on this for a little bit longer this morning and see where I can get to. Hey there, so it's a new day, but work continues today on this no-dig bed that we're putting in the lower part of our garden. Yesterday I left off kind of cutting in the edge of the bed, but that was actually getting really pretty hard because the soil is super, super hard. So I'm not really sure I'm going to continue to do that. It's not necessary, it's just more of a visual help for me to see where the edge of the bed was. I was able to make that edge pretty clear though with just the weed whacker, so I'm probably just going to progress from there. I think I am going to try to get some compost from in the goat pasture and the chicken pasture to lay down in some of the low holes that we have here. We also have some other areas that my husband is using equipment kind of digging up the soil, so there might be some just loose dirt down there that I can grab to fill in some of the extra low spots before I lay down the cardboard. So what I would especially like to accomplish today is getting that done and then also just getting the cardboard laid out. I may be able to go down to our friend's house and get some of their cow manure also. That's also not necessary. Everything that you would need for a bed like this, you can just get at a landscape supply place. But if they have cow manure that they are offering up, I would be loving to use it because it is so good for gardens. So I'm just going to start assessing filling in the low parts of the space right now, and then get to moving the cardboard over and get that laid down. Well, that took a minute to get some stuff to put down to kind of fill in some of the low spots. I just brought up some big clumps of chunks from our hay, from down in the hay pasture, and some dirt. And then we also cleaned out the chicken/goat house. My husband brought up a wheelbarrow full of cow manure. So I also dug out the 3 trees that were in here because these areas will be raised up several inches, and in the process of doing that I would be burying the trunks down too deep. There was a little maple, vine maple back here that was actually buried too deep as it was, so I was glad to get that out and I'll be able to replant that. But I have my big pile of cardboard here. I'm just going to start laying it down, see how far it gets me, and then go from there. I think I'll just then spread the cow manure and the stuff from the goat and chicken pasture or chicken pen in on top of that, and then I think we're going to be able to take our trailer over to our friend's house this evening and have them put a load of the horse manure into that, and then I'll come put that down on top, And then my next step will be to go actually get some of the good premium garden soil from the landscape supply place, and put that on top. And then that should really just kind of pull the whole space together, make it look a lot more uniform, and just that'll be the transforming moment when that stuff goes down on top of all the manure and all that stuff. So I'm just going to start laying out the cardboard, which is a pretty exciting part for me. I like this. I like this part. So really quick, I wanted to show you on boxes like this that have slits in them. I'm going to try to just keep them whole like this because I really don't want cracks like that. I mean, even in that small spot, the grass will find a way to grow back up through. So I'm going to see if I have enough cardboard to actually lay the cardboard down like this, which is basically a double thickness. If I don't, I would either have the option to cut these into smaller pieces, which would be kind of tedious, open it up and then layer it a little bit more, which I could do, or then I could just pause and try to find more cardboard. So I have quite a bit, so I'm just going to see if what I have is enough to lay double like this, so that I don't have any openings exposed. You don't want to see any light coming through. It's been a few hours now, and I'm not gonna lie. This is a long process. I mean, it's not without some work being put in. It's a lot easier, like I maintained in the other video where I did the other no dig bed. It is easier, I think, than removing the sod completely and tilling up the ground and all that stuff. So I just got back from getting 2 yards of three-way soil blend. I asked there at the landscape supply place where I had gotten the premium garden blend last time, what the difference was. And they said this 3-way blend is compost, soil, and sand. The premium garden blend also has manure in it. I don't know if he said cow, I think he said cow and chicken manure. Well, we're putting in our own cow and chicken manure, as well as my best friends, they have the horses. We're going to be putting in their horse manure also. So I decided just to get the 3-way blend instead. So I'm going to flip you around and show you what my son was working on while I was gone, and then I'm going to see if I can break down some more of the boxes and make this bed actually a little bit bigger, because I still have some cardboard left over. And then I'm going to get spreading the soil that I just got. So while I was gone, one of my boys was just spreading out the compost that I got out of our goat and chicken pasture area, the house that they sleep in basically. And then also he spread out this big wheelbarrow full of cow manure. Now it's not a ton. I mean, it'd probably be beneficial to have some more, but like I said, I am getting the chicken manure, and I think it'll, any manure that I put in will be helpful. So I still have, some boxes left that I think I could probably just extend this out this far, but really I need to get it covered because the dogs like to eat. They like to eat the stuff in the manure. So I need to get that covered, but I'm going to see if I can do a little bit more of the boxes first, just to make this a little bit bigger, and then I'll start unloading the truck because it's a pretty heavy load, and I'm still hoping to go get some of the horse manure tonight. So we're making progress, but it's slow but steady. Okay, so we just laid out the horse manure that we got from our good friend's house, which I think is going to be amazing because that is some good fertile stuff. So that was able to put out, I mean, it's hard to say, but maybe an inch or so over the whole bed, which covered up the other soil we had laid. So we had about, I don't know, I probably wouldn't say a yard, maybe a yard initially of the goat and chicken stuff with our cow stuff, and then we laid out 2 yards of a 3-way garden blend, which is just soil, compost, like yard debris compost, and sand, which we got from the landscape supply place. And then we put on, it was about 2 yards worth of the horse manure. My friend's husband loaded it with his bucket, and it was two big bucketfuls. So we have that laid out, and now I'm actually waiting for the landscape supply place to come dump a pretty good sized load. I ordered 6 cubic yards of the 3-way with 1 cubic yard, well, 5 cubic yards of the 3-way with 1 cubic yard of the Supreme or Premium Garden Blend. And I'm having them just come, and they're gonna back up and they're gonna dump it on this bed. I decided I want this bed to be raised up a bit more than it is, just because this portion of our garden is so low down, of our yard, I guess, is so low down. So I want it to be elevated up. And if I have to get something else on top of the cow manure or the horse manure, because otherwise the dogs will keep coming and eating it. So I needed some more anyways. I opted to just pay the delivery for them to come out and dump a load, because it's a chore to go all the way out there, get it, come back. We've just started school, homeschooling, and it's about to get really hot again. And I thought, you know what? I am gonna just do this. I'm gonna make it a little bit easier on ourselves. So they should be here within the next half hour. They'll dump it, and then I'll spread some of it enough just to cover the manure, and then go from there. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. I do have a few more boxes I can use if I need to put those anywhere. I'm not too concerned about the precision of the curves of the bed right now. This is mostly just kind of getting the bed established, and then I can cut in the edges once the weather brings more rain and the edges get softer, easier to dig in. But right now the soil is super, super hard, so that's difficult to do. So anyway, that's where we're at right now, just waiting for the dump truck of the soil to put on top of the bed. is a new day, and we are done with this first major part of the installation of this no-dig bed that we're putting in down here in the lower part of our yard, that I'm putting in the lower part of our yard. This is the biggest no-dig bed that I've ever done, and it has been a bit of a process. So I recorded the whole process over the several days that we installed it, so I'm hoping that the video came together showing the process well enough. And yeah, it wasn't easy, but you know, we got it done. Started out obviously with the cardboard. I ended up weed whacking down the grass that was here as far down as I could, just to kind of show myself this space to lower the grass down as best as I could. Then I laid down the cardboard, trying to do it pretty thick, trying to make sure that I was overlapping. That's pretty key, because you don't want any gaps to where the grass can come up. I do have quite a bit of the new garden soil on top of the cardboard, so I think it's going to be hard for grass to survive under even that much soil, whether the cardboard was there or not, but I don't want to risk it. So hopefully the cardboard didn't get messed up as we put on the different layers. We put on the goat and chicken manure and stuff from their little house, and then I put on a layer of the garden soil that I got from the landscape supply place. That's soil, sand, and compost. And then on top of that, I put on a couple yards of horse manure that we got from our friends. And then we put on 6 more yards of the garden soil, which 5 yards of the garden soil and then 1 yard of the premium garden soil from that same landscape company. You saw that I had that delivered, which was so much easier than going and getting it myself in our pickup, because in our pickup we can only get about 2 yards at a time. And anyway, so that was great. And now I've gotten it all spread out, and it's been settling for the last couple days. And yeah, I don't have too many things to plant in it right now. It really wasn't my intention to plant it up at all this season, because I really want the compost and the cardboard and all that stuff to just, well, the cardboard to decompose and the compost to encourage the goodness from underneath to come up and mix it all together, and you know, all the things that a no-dig bed is good for. I do have a few things that I'm going to plant in, just because I found them as good deals, and I do want to get those into the soil. I would also really like, regardless of how much planting I get done, I would really like to cover this with mulch. So I'll probably, I'm thinking probably get another load delivered from the same landscape company of some of their mulch that I can cover the bed with, just to prevent weeds, and really to help it to settle in, and also to try to keep the dogs out of it, because even though there's soil on top of the other manure and stuff, they still want to get in it and get the manure out. So anyways, I'll flip you around and just kind of show you the end result here that I'm dealing with, the point that we got to, and yeah, flip you around. Okay, so really quick, I wanted to point out, as you saw in one of the videos, this curve right here, I did kind of break the rules of the no-dig bed, and I did use our really tough fire hoe, actually, to cut in that curve, because the ground above it, like you can see where the gorilla cart is, it's considerably higher. So it was probably about 8 inches higher, and I wanted to cut that down lower. So I used the hoe to scrape that out and to make that curve. And the rest of the bed, though, does not have much edging, except when we get over here, this part I did also edge in, because this also was a little too high on the upside. I don't know if that's obvious or not to see, but I just needed to lower the soil down, to lower the edge down, so that this wasn't such a drop off, I guess, down to the garden bed. So then over here, this was where you saw me spill. I haven't cleaned that up quite yet. So this is going to be just a grass edge along the path between the garden, and it goes down just below the little maple tree there and up and around. There is kind of a goofy little spot down there on the end near the targets down here. I'll show you. It's kind of this little square pop out. I guess I was thinking I was going to put maybe a tree down here, and just kind of curve this end once it, you know, softens up. But ideally I'll continue this out, you know, see past Charlie, kind of where you can see the brown area and just do a little bit more of a curved ending here. So this part's kind of weird. It's not ideal, but in the backside you need some work, but I do like the curves that we cut in here. So I'm happy to have this garden at the point where it's at, because like I said, this is definitely the most involved, labor intensive part of the process. So now basically the rain and the goodie underneath the soil gets to do its work with the compost and the cardboard and, you know, all those things to create a really nice garden bed. This area is going to primarily have plants that are in the other gardens that are either outgrowing their spaces or are getting taken over by things that are, you know, overgrowing their spaces. So I do have some plants that I will be planting in already, but ideally this season I'll get those in. I'll put on mulch to keep the weeds suppressed, and then this garden will be nice and ready in the spring to start planting things in. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with us while we did this garden bed. I hope it was helpful to you, and I hope if you have any questions, you'll post them down below, and you can watch kind of the entire process of another smaller no-dig bed in my no-dig bed playlist that I have on the channel. So this one is still a work in progress, but it's going to be fun. So I hope you will come along for the future videos where we show the rest of the plantings and all those good things. So we will see you in the next videos. Bye.